Before we jump into today's episode, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our sponsor, Bruno Auger Marketing. Dedicated to supporting small businesses in Thunder Bay and beyond, Bruno Auger Marketing specializes in marketing automation and software designed to help businesses generate more leads. If your goal is to increase visibility, attract more customers, and build a standout reputation, Bruno Auger Marketing has the tools to make it happen. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast and for helping local businesses succeed. Welcome back to Build and Thrive Thunder Bay, the podcast where we explore new and innovative strategies for local businesses to reach and engage more customers every week. I'm your host, Robert Downing, and today we have a very special episode. We're going to delve into the importance of partnering with Indigenous communities, focusing on building meaningful and mutually beneficial relationships. I'm excited to welcome today's guest, someone with extensive knowledge and a deep understanding of this topic. Thank you for joining us, David.
Thank you, Robert, for having me. It's truly an honor to be here and share insights on a topic that holds great significance for Indigenous communities and local business development alike.
Let's dive right in. To start us off, can you share insights about the importance of understanding Indigenous cultural values and traditions when seeking to build partnerships?
Absolutely, Robert. Understanding Indigenous cultural values and traditions is critical as it forms the foundation of any partnership. Indigenous cultures are diverse, with each community having its own unique set of beliefs, values, and practices. For example, many Indigenous communities place a high value on the land, regarding it not merely as a resource, but as a living entity interconnected with their identity and spirituality. Therefore, respecting and appreciating these cultural values require more than just knowledge. It necessitates an openness to learn and immerse oneself genuinely. This understanding fosters trust and shows the community that their cultural heritage is respected and honored. From a business perspective, it ensures that the strategies you develop are culturally appropriate and sensitive, which can lead to more sustainable and successful partnerships.
You've highlighted how central cultural values are. Moving on, can you elaborate on how trust and respect play into partnership development with Indigenous communities?
Trust and respect are foundational to any relationship, but even more so when it comes to Indigenous partnerships. Historically, Indigenous communities have experienced breaches of trust from external entities, which has led to skepticism and, in some cases, reluctance to engage. Building trust requires time, transparency, and consistent action, not just words. Showing respect means actively listening to community members, understanding their concerns, and valuing their knowledge and perspectives as equal contributors to the partnership. It is critical to approach these relationships with humility, acknowledging past wrongdoings, and working collaboratively toward a more equitable future. It's about establishing a dialogue where both parties feel heard and valued.
That's such a crucial point, remembering the historical context and the need for transparency. Speaking of which, what would you say are effective ways to engage with community leaders and stakeholders?
Engaging effectively with community leaders and stakeholders begins with identifying the right people to connect with. This typically includes not just political leaders, but also elders, cultural advisors, and other key influencers within the community. The approach should be respectful and considerate of community protocols and customs. It's often beneficial to enter discussions with genuine questions and open-ended inquiries rather than predetermined solutions. This approach signals a true willingness to collaborate and learn. Building rapport through regular contact and engagement rather than reaching out only when you need something is also crucial. Ensure that meetings are scheduled with adequate notice and at times that are convenient for the community, respecting their commitments and calendar.
Regular engagement and respecting their time, certainly vital strategies. Let's talk about identifying mutual goals and benefits in partnerships. Can you give us some strategies here?
Identifying mutual goals and benefits starts with open dialogue where both parties clearly articulate their objectives and expectations. At its best, a partnership is about synergy, where the combined outcome is greater than the sum of individual efforts. It's vital to focus on areas of mutual interest and potential win-win opportunities. Workshops and joint planning sessions can be effective in this regard, as they provide a space for shared visioning and creative thinking. These sessions should prioritize active participation and use tools like brainstorming and role reversal exercises to foster empathy and insight. Regularly revisiting these goals can help ensure alignment and realignment as circumstances and priorities evolve over time.
Those are excellent methods for aligning on goals. Leading off that, how do we ensure these partnerships are rooted in sustainable practices?
Sustainability in partnerships with Indigenous communities often intertwines with their cultural values, especially concerning land and resource use. Sustainable practices should be developed collaboratively, respecting traditional ecological knowledge. This may involve joint environmental assessments, sustainable resource management plans, and incorporating traditional practices that have supported the community's resilience over generations. Sustainability also speaks to the duration of the partnership, ensuring that initiatives are not just short-term projects but are designed and implemented with long-term impacts in mind. Transparency, regular assessment of the practices, and adaptability in strategies are crucial to maintaining sustainability.
Sustainability as a long-term commitment. That's a profound approach. Transitioning to challenges, what are some common challenges and misconceptions in engaging Indigenous communities, and how can they be overcome?
A common challenge is the assumption that Indigenous communities are homogeneous, when in fact, they are incredibly diverse with unique needs and perspectives. This misconception can lead to one-size-fits-all solutions that are ineffective or even detrimental. Another challenge is the paternalistic approach, where businesses assume they know what's best for the community without their input. Overcoming these challenges requires a shift from seeing these communities as passive beneficiaries to active partners. This shift is fostered through education, meaningful engagement, and active listening. It's also important to dispel stereotypes and focus on the community's strengths and potential. Building internal capacity to understand and engage appropriately with these communities is essential.
Such vital insights, especially around recognizing diversity within communities. Similarly, how can businesses promote awareness of Indigenous rights and issues in the local business context?
Promoting awareness of Indigenous rights and issues can be done through education and advocacy. Businesses should provide training for their teams on Indigenous history, rights, and contemporary issues, incorporating this into their corporate social responsibility strategies. This helps employees become better informed and sensitive to Indigenous perspectives. Advocacy can also mean supporting Indigenous businesses or initiatives, sharing their successes, and challenging stereotypes and misinformation in wider business and community forums. Businesses can host events or forums to create discussions about Indigenous rights, inviting speakers from within those communities to lead conversations and increasing visibility around Indigenous issues and their relevance to businesses.
Incredible. Fostering internal and external understanding. Moving towards active involvement. How important is it to involve Indigenous voices in shaping policies and programs that impact their communities?
Including Indigenous voices in the shaping of policies and programs that impact their communities is not only respectful, but essential for the success and relevance of those initiatives. When Indigenous people have a say in the decisions that affect their lives, it leads to more effective and culturally appropriate outcomes. This inclusion ensures that policies are not only more equitable, but are also leveraging the full spectrum of knowledge and experience present in the community. Businesses should create mechanisms that facilitate involvement, such as advisory boards or partnership councils that include Indigenous representation, giving these communities a platform and influence over the narrative and actions taken.
Absolutely critical. Giving a voice and influence where it rightly belongs. How about maintaining these relationships? What strategies can ensure ongoing communication and partnership strength?
Maintaining relationships requires commitment, patience, and ongoing effort. Regular communication is key, and this involves setting up consistent meetings and check-ins that work for all parties. It's also about being present, not just when transactions are happening, but as part of a sustained relationship. Creating shared platforms where updates, feedback, and developments can be exchanged in real time helps keep everyone aligned and invested. Celebrating small wins in progress is important as it rekindles enthusiasm and motivation for the partnership. Lastly, flexibility is critical. As economic, social, or environmental landscapes change, so must strategies and approaches to ensure they are still effective.
Consistency and flexibility. Fantastic strategies for long-term engagement. Finally, celebrating achievements can be a crucial aspect of partnerships. How can Indigenous and business partnerships celebrate achievements effectively to foster long-term collaboration?
Celebrating achievements is as much about gratitude and acknowledgement as it is about the milestones themselves. Including the community in planning these celebrations ensures they are meaningful and respectful of cultural protocols. Highlighting success stories in local and wider media can increase visibility of the partnership's benefits, not only reinforcing the positive impact but also encouraging others to consider similar collaborations. Award ceremonies, community gatherings, or even informal lunches can be avenues to express appreciation and reflect on the journey shared. Public recognition of individual contributors within the community or business can further solidify the sense of unity and progress.
What a profound summary, ensuring celebrations empower and reinforce connections. Thank you so much for sharing your invaluable insights today. You've painted a comprehensive picture of the potential and responsibility in partnering with Indigenous communities.
Thank you, Robert. I've appreciated this opportunity to discuss these important aspects and hopefully inspire business leaders to build partnerships that are not only successful but ethically and culturally grounded.
To all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this enlightening episode of Build and Thrive Thunder Bay. We explored the essential components and strategies for building meaningful partnerships with Indigenous communities. From recognizing cultural values, building trust, and effective communication, to aligning mutual goals, we hope these insights empower you in establishing equitable and sustainable partnerships. As always, this podcast is here to support local businesses in innovative ways to engage their communities. Don't forget to tune in next week for more valuable strategies. Until then, take care and thrive.